Hi, we're the Spates family, and we're missionaries with Full Count Ministries to the Chinandega region of Nicaragua. I'm Adam.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Madison.
And I'm JP.
And we want to tell you a little bit about our story. I was born and raised in a small cotton farming community called Harpersville, Alabama. And to be honest, I never thought I would leave there. But after meeting my wife, we moved to Dadeville, Alabama, and I spent about 15 years living there. And through moving to Dadeville, we started attending First Baptist Church, and we encountered XMA, a missionary organization. And in 2012, we took our first trip as a family to Honduras. And it was on this trip, when we were on the way to an orphanage, that I looked and saw a vacant field, and I could just see baseball being played there. I got to thinking about baseball and missions together, and I thought, you know, somebody should do that. And so as soon as I got home, I Googled baseball missions. And during that Google search, I encountered Full Count Ministries of Tennessee. Upon finding Full Count Ministries, I immediately wanted to go on a trip with them. But it wasn't until 5 years later, in 2017, that I was able to go on a trip. And the only trip that I could go on was the trip to Las Mesas. You see, up until this point, I had felt God drawing me into foreign missions, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I asked God before I left for the trip if He would show me in His Word that He wanted me to take my family and forsake all and move to a foreign country to share His gospel. And see, I had three things that were holding me back: the grandparents of my children, and my life. I had a 14-year career with Alabama Power Company. I just purchased a house on Lake Martin, had a brand new fishing boat. We were children's ministers at our church. I was helping run in the youth baseball, softball league for our community. And by all standards, we were living an American dream style life. But it was on the first night of that trip in Las Mesas, a man by the name of Wade Rainey passed out little pieces of paper, little fortune cookie style inserts that had a scripture reference on it. And mine was Matthew 10, 37 through 39, which says, "If you love your father and mother more than me, you're not worthy of me. If you love your son or daughter more than me, you're not worthy of me. If any man chooses to follow me, he must take up his cross, deny himself, and follow me. If you desire to find your life in this life, you'll lose it. But if you lose your life for my sake, then you'll surely find it for all of eternity." It was at that point that I knew for sure that I needed to forsake all, abandon my life, and share the gospel with those abroad. Upon getting home, I knew I needed to tell my wife, and so we had a conversation.
And so the same week, I had taken the children from our church to kids camp. Adam and I were children's ministers at the time. And there was a point during the camp, we had devotion for all of the leaders that came. And there was a verse in the leader book. It was John 12:25, and it said, "Whoever loves his life will lose it, and if you lose your life for my sake, you will surely find it." And I knew at that moment it was time for us to be doing full-time missions somewhere internationally. The Lord had been dealing with me since the XMA trip in Honduras, and at that moment the Lord confirmed that yes, now is the time for you to go.
So the next day I was in my truck at work, and I asked God, I said, "So you've called us. Now if you want to show us where you want us to go, I'm open." I opened up my phone and looked at the maps on my iPhone, and somehow I found a place in Nicaragua called Corinto. It's an island off the Pacific coast. And my heart really wanted to go to Honduras, but I just felt an overwhelming sensation, and upon arriving there on a trip to check it out, I knew for sure that's where we were called, was to the Chinandega portion, to do baseball, to reach baseball players. So we immediately started selling everything that we own here in the States and moved to Mexico for 8 months to learn the Spanish language. And while there, it was the time that Jacob Oldham called me and said, "Hey man, would you like to be the first missionary with Full Count?" And for us, it only made sense to have the community that is Full Count of people who love Jesus and baseball supporting us, praying for us and ministering alongside of us. So we told him yes, and it's one of the best decisions we've made thus far in this process. But it's been a journey to get to where we are today, and we're really proud to be a part of Full Count. And we're really excited to see the vision of every baseball player across the world be realized, and us play a small part in it.